Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning in to Comfort is Cool. This is a call-in radio show about your heating and cooling system, sponsored by a local air conditioning company called And Cooling Services. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm your host, Angel. We got Ted in the booth with us this morning.
Happy to be here.
It's been starting to warm up. Starting to see the shift in our weather. Sweaters are coming off. Zippers are coming down.
Yeah, you know it. I mean, it's time to start going back over to the beachwear store and get your summer wardrobe.
You know what that means too. We could go fishing now too.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
it's too cold to sit in the water and fish.
For us anyway. The fish. I get a couple of buddies that are commercial fishermen. This is actually the tail end of their season right now. So those guys are all getting ready to come off the water for the year and move on to doing tours and stuff like that. So, but another beautiful week in paradise. Woke up this morning with that crazy dense fog again that we've got that happens when, you know, all that humidity in the air gets squeezed out because of the low temperatures overnight, and that humidity can't stay in solution with the air anymore, and so it actually forms little droplets, and then we have fog covering the entire region. So, you know, these air conditioners, their main job this morning, as usual, was dehumidifying because there's all this ridiculous amount of humidity in the air outside and attaching to everything. So,
as part of what we want to talk about today, today's topic is going to be about maintenance and being proactive about maintenance and making sure you get it done before the time's due. You should start planning on it now. If you haven't started planning on it, you're running a little bit behind, and pretty soon you're going to be forced to react than be proactive. And we want to talk about the proper way of doing the maintenance and what you will find as far as an and cooling service technician come out to do maintenance on your air conditioner and what to expect. We're going to be running a special. Right now I'm running all of our print ads. Specials are $59. I'm going to reduce that by $10 here on the radio. We're going to be giving away 5 of them for today and today only. If you call us by the end of the day, either here or at the office, and tell them you heard us on the radio, we will discount the regular maintenance of $59. It's already discounted. Another $10, so you will only pay for $49 for a 60 to 90 minute inspection and cleaning of the air conditioning system for our technician to inform you and give you information about your air conditioning system and how it's operating and how efficient it is or it can be. And you know, figure out how wide that gap is between working and perfect, and to see if we can close it up for you as much as possible within reason, without taking any food off the table and putting money back into your pocketbook. So give us a call, 941-926-6969. That's 941-926-6969. That's $49, an additional $10 off the already discounted $59 for 5 people only. So to the end of the day, our schedule is pretty much booked out for the next couple of weeks. So I have to limit it. So wow, that was a long. I have to limit it because you know that we're pretty busy right now. People are being proactive. Most of the customers that we already have in our database are being proactive, and we're scheduling them out.
Well, every week we talk about how important it is to have your maintenance done, but we don't always talk about exactly what we do on the maintenance. We like to go over some specific topic, at least for a portion of the show. So today we're going to take this opportunity to explain some of the services that you can expect or from a maintenance. And this will help you not only in dealing with our company, but this will help you in dealing with any company that you have do your maintenance. So if you've got a pen and paper, if you want to take some notes, it would be a really good time to go ahead and grab that stuff now, just because we're gonna go through a list of checkpoints that we have put together ourselves to make sure that a maintenance is carried out at the highest level and that we don't leave any stone unturned or any broken thing unfixed. You know, this list here is how you determine the difference between working and perfect, as Angel said. There's always a margin between when something is perfect and when something is working and when something is broken. You know, there's a whole spectrum of in-betweens there. So the whole purpose of you having a maintenance on your air conditioner is to keep that gap from working and perfect as close as possible. on a yearly basis. And because everybody knows that as machines run and time passes, things, you know, rattle loose, things wear out, things get corroded, things get dirty. So, you know, there's various different things that do need to be done on a yearly basis just to make sure that you maintain the efficiency and the capacity of the air conditioner to make sure it can blow as much cold air as it wants to. So,
well, you know, 2/3 of the United States have two-thirds of the United States have air conditioning systems in their homes. That's a lot of people, and a lot of people, and most of those people don't understand what exactly to do on the maintenance, and going over this list, and the most important part of maintaining the air conditioner for a homeowner is changing that filter. You know, that could decrease the efficiency on the air conditioner between 5 and 15%, which is a lot. That costs a lot of money on a monthly basis to be able to cool your house with a dirty filter.
Well, and along the lines of what you're saying, I would imagine that even more than 2/3 of the country have to have their oil changed in their car and don't know how to do it or wouldn't do it themselves.
Correct.
Okay. And so this is kind of along the lines of making sure that you know that when the guy at Jiffy Lube or wherever it is, when he comes up and says to make or offers you a recommendation to improve your car's performance or to replace a wear and tear item that has, you know, gone bad, this is sort of a parallel to letting you know what to expect the guy from Jiffy Lube to
Correct. So you can hold them accountable.
Yeah, because I mean, not everybody knows anything about air conditioning, let alone enough to protect yourself from somebody or to make sure that you're getting your money's worth, you know, or just to make sure that you're getting the just service that you're paying for, which is, you know, your money's worth. So getting started here, I don't want to just read off the list, but I'm going to go item by item as it's on this sheet here and then kind of expound a little bit on it. We don't have enough time to really spend too much time on each item here. So first off, we check the thermostat, which is pretty obvious. We go in and we take temperatures in the house. First off, make sure that your temperature on your thermostat is the temperature in the house, because sometimes the thermometer in the thermostat goes bad and it's reading the house and controlling it off of a skewed temperature. So that's the first thing to check. Also, in taking those temperatures, it helps us to determine if the air conditioner is performing near where it should, just as it stands when we arrive to the house. If any calibration needs to be needed to the thermostat or needs to be done to the thermostat, we'll take care of it at that time. There are adjustments in some thermostats where if it's reading 74 in your home and it's actually 72, we can actually calibrate the internal thermometer to show 72 at this temperature, and it then corrects the scale of your thermometer so that everything works properly. So I mean, these are all minor adjustments that could be made or just be you know, found by investigating some basic things just upon arrival. We check the airflow at each vent and the temperature of the air coming out of each vent. We have these fancy little thermometer guns that use an infrared laser to determine the temperature of an area that you can't reach with a thermometer. So we can stand on the ground and just shoot the laser up into your vents, and it'll tell us the temperature of the air coming out of each vent. What this is going to tell us is which part of your house performed the best. It's important to know which part of your house performs the best, because if we're going to take from anywhere, that's where it's going to come from. And if we want to try to emulate how one part of the system is installed, you want to try to emulate that part of the system and not reproduce any of the work that's done in the part of the system that's not performing properly. So these are all things that we look at in you know, the first few minutes of maintenance, just to determine if there are any smoking guns. Now, once we finish up with the thermostat and making sure that the system is turned on so we can test it, it's time to go outside, and this is where we get dirty. First thing we do is take the lid off the condenser, you know, get all the debris out of there. A lot of times it has started to compost a little bit in the bottom, so it's kind of a mixture of soil and, you know, lizard skeletons and leaves and sticks and snails and gross stuff that you really don't want just sitting there.
Farms,
yeah,
I've seen ant farms cover the compressor.
Yeah, otherwise known as a formicary.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True.
And
That's a dirty word.
formicary?
Yeah, you
sure
gotta be
is.
careful.
You definitely do not want formicary corrosion in the copper in your house. I can tell you that much. That's your vocab for the word, Dave.
That's like Chinese drywall.
Word of the day, folks. Formicary corrosion. If you live in Sarasota County, it's a real threat to any copper you might have in your ground. So, take a look, do your research, see if you could be in harm's way. The EPA actually does offer all kinds of neat information about that on their website. It's FORMICARY, formicary corrosion. All right, so anyways, back onto the maintenance tips. So we removed all the debris and cleaned the unit with coil cleaning chemicals and a garden hose and water and rinsed away all the chemicals. So now it's all nice and shiny with no debris on the inside of it. At that point, we'll go ahead and reassemble the coil or reassemble the unit by putting the lid back on it, and get ready to test and check all of the electrical components and connections. There are various different electrical components that need to be tested in there, from capacitors to contactors to defrost boards, the fan motor, the compressor. We have a method of testing each and every one of these components, and they're all very, very quick. What takes us so long throughout this maintenance is mainly the part that I described just a moment ago of removing all the debris and chemically cleaning the condensing coil, because we do spend a lot of time on that part of the work. It's what people see, and cleaning that condensing coil is the main impact that we'll have on your efficiency, because that's where the heat transfer takes place. That's actually where your air conditioning system gets rid of the heat to the air outside. So it's essentially just taking the heat from your house and putting it outside. Now, the more air you can blow over those fins and that coil outside, the more heat you're going to extract from your home. The more heat you extract from your home outside equals the more heat you draw out inside. So your air out of your vents will be cooler. So it's indirect, but it's very important.
That's why the coils need to be cleaned.
Oh yeah. And without it, you can't get rid of any heat. It would be as though, anybody that's from north has seen in the wintertime, the big trucks drive with the radiators completely covered on the front of the van or front of the trucks, where they have this sheet across the radiator. Well, what's happening there is it's so cold outside that it's making that engine too cold to run properly. The engine is actually not quote unquote warmed up. So they have to cover that radiator because it's taking too much heat out of the truck. So, it's a similar thing to that, where we have the opposite problem down here, because we're cooking our air conditioner outside. It's sitting out in 9,500 degree air. If it's in between two houses and in both of those houses aren't white, it's probably like 115.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the middle of the summertime. So it gets real hot out there. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take heat from your house and put it into the air outside. The hotter the air is outside, the harder the job is. So airflow becomes extremely important to make sure that that temperature exchange rate is actually happening consistently throughout the range of conditions that the air conditioner is asked to perform in. And we don't take into consideration when we ask our air conditioner to come on, we don't think, oh, it's 98 degrees outside today, so you don't really have to blow that cold air. You know what I mean?
This is why it's important to pick a good technician or a good company that's going to provide you a good technician to inform you about all this information.
Yes, because when it's 98, you want it to blow just as cold air as when it's 78.
And you don't understand why it's not doing it when it doesn't.
Well, that's part of the maintenance. It's one of the main reasons for the maintenance to be done, especially in a preseason basis, because by testing all of these things that we're talking about, moving on from the electrical components, the refrigerant system and testing the refrigerant charge is the next step on this process. And if you hit the summer months without your refrigerant charge being correct, then you're spending a percentage too much money on a daily basis until it gets corrected.
Yep. And this is where recommendations are going to come into play, and it's imperative that you know that any recommendations that are made to improve the efficiency of the air conditioning system can be proven to you. Checking the contactors and the capacitors, it's actually visual. You take the meter and test it. The capacitor actually tells you what range it should be reading from. So if it's recommended, ask the technician to prove it to you. He should be able to do that very easily. If not, then
yeah, it actually says it on the side of the component as far as capacitors go, what the plus minus acceptable range that you show on them is, and all of the ratings are clearly displayed on the sides of the unit. So it's as simple as putting a meter on it, and if what it shows isn't what it says on the side of it, then it's in your best interest to go ahead and replace it, because if you don't, when you want it to run the most, it's when it's going to break. That's how that works usually.
Yeah.
The capacitors go bad on the hottest days of the year or during thunderstorms. I mean, and when else do you want your air conditioner? You know what I mean? In the middle of the summertime, it's a thunderstorm, it's 88 degrees and 100% humidity, and there's lightning. So it's not like you're going to go somewhere or go drive through a sheet of water to go somewhere where there is air conditioning. All you want is to be comfortable in your house. But, you know, having a weak capacitor, the storm coming through and a fluctuation in voltage will cause that straw that'll be the last straw that, you know, breaks the camel's back, and we're done. You know, and the air conditioner doesn't work anymore until somebody gets out there to look at it, and it all could have been prevented by a 2-minute part of a 90-minute process that would have determined that problem was going to happen.
That's a good point, because the EPA did a study about 6 or 7 years ago where 85% of the breakdowns in air conditioning were due through lack of preventative maintenance. That's an actual number. That was a study that was done by the EPA, which is important. It's true that most breakdowns on anything that's mechanical usually comes from a lack of taking care of it.
Every manufacturer of every air conditioner will void your warranty if you don't maintain it, period.
100%. Yep.
If you don't maintain it, they don't keep the warranty. You know what I mean? It's you're not doing your part, they're not going to do their part. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know? So anyways, moving back onto the maintenance, once we've gone ahead and reassembled the unit, tested all the electricity or all the electrical components and the electricity coming to the unit, the refrigeration circuit and the pressures, we'll inspect all of the pipes and the plumbing that the refrigerant uses for leaks. Also, we'll look at the condensation drain line to make sure that it's actually dripping and running freely, and that all of the refrigerant lines are insulated properly with black Armaflex insulation. That pretty much concludes the outdoor portion of the service. So then once we move inside, this is a really, really important part of the service as well, because this is the part of the service that affects the air that you breathe. This is the part where we are able to determine if you are breathing in things that you don't want to be breathing in, and perhaps we'll be able to alleviate that with just, you know, a rag and some solution and wiping down some surfaces. At this point is where our company kind of shines a little bit, because we offer a special service in addition with our maintenance when it comes to duct sanitization and coil guard treatment. Because when we get a look at the inside of the air handler, there's always going to be one of two things, okay? I mean, from the year after that the air conditioner is installed until forever, you're going to find one of two things in an air handler when you open it. One of them is corrosion, and the other one is environmental growth, okay? Now, our systems that have been installed, you don't have to worry about the latter. Environmental growth is not an issue if you have a lifetime no mold guarantee, which is,
correct.
I mean, that's a pretty substantial guarantee. To guarantee that a system will not have mold in it for the lifetime of the system, and if there's ever any situation where that might happen, that it's covered by a guarantee and that the problem will be taken care of for you, I mean, that is a pretty significant difference.
That's one of the ways that we separate ourselves from everybody else. And Cooling Services understands that the air conditioner, it's a no-brainer. It's going to grow some environmental growth. It has all the perfect breeding grounds for that stuff to happen.
But so, even if it doesn't grow anything, not to cut you off, it's going to corrode.
Correct.
Okay, because it's moist, it's cool, it's dark, it never really dries out completely unless you leave it off for a long period of time. So to go along with what Angel was saying, we separate ourselves by including a no mold guarantee on all of our new installations because of our patented UV system that goes in with the system. And it's an ultraviolet air purifier that essentially, it neutralizes the DNA of anything that tries to pass through your air conditioning system. So nothing that tries to breed or move through your air conditioning system does so successfully, because the DNA is disintegrated by the ultraviolet radiation that comes out of the bulb. But the beauty of the system is that it's completely contained to within your air handler, So there's no exposure to any kind of ultraviolet radiation or ozone outside of the air handler itself. So it's really a beautiful system because you don't have any adverse effects on yourself, but anything that might try to trespass and go into your air handler would be nuked, essentially. So that's where we are able to offer our no mold guarantee. Since we can't do that on a regular basis for people whose air conditioners we didn't install, the part of the service that we tailor along those same lines is that we offer a duct sanitization or a coil guard treatment. Because getting back to what I'm saying, every air handler is going to have in it is either growth or corrosion. Okay, so what our company does is we will address the worst of whichever issue that is. Okay, if you've got more growth than corrosion, we're going to go ahead and do a duct sanitization treatment, which is a biocide that is applied to the surface of your air conditioning system and ductwork through circulation by a fan in a mist form. And as it covers the surfaces of the inside of your air conditioning and ventilation system, it kills anything it comes in contact with. So not only that, but if you have any kind of odor, or even if you have dirty sock syndrome on your coil, which is something that you can look up on your own time. It's a phenomenon where a coil essentially smells like dirty laundry because of the stuff that's growing in it. This duct sanitization treatment is very effective to, at least for a short period of time, eliminate that dirty sock syndrome. But if you have any kind of smaller issues with growth, it does just go ahead and kill everything that's on the surface. Now, let's say hypothetically, you have a no growth in your air conditioner, but we find some corrosion on the evaporator coil. Well, we're going to go ahead and apply a clear coat coil guard treatment to that coil for you to slow down that corrosion. So basically, we're tailoring the service to our clients by addressing whichever issue that you have that's the worst in your home. Now, obviously, we are a business, and we can't just go around fixing everybody's problems for free. We have to get paid for, for the work that we do. So that's why we're only really willing to focus on which is the worst portion of your air conditioner. But I'm sure that everybody can see the value in having whatever the weakest link in the chain is. If we're going to shore that up for you every year, that is a huge value to the service at no additional cost. So, I mean, a company that's willing to provide you with a no breakdown guarantee once we provide you with the clean bill of health, and at the same time address whichever the worst part or the weakest part of your system is, where's the downside to having that done? Especially if you can do it for, what's our special today?
$49.
$49 for this maintenance, which I'm not even finished describing yet.
And we're almost running out of time.
Yes. So
$49, 941-926-6969. That's 941-926-6969. I can tell you that one more time. 941-926-6969. $49. We're only giving away 5 of them. If you call us today only, towards the end of the day, we're giving away 5 reduced maintenances at $49. You're going to save an additional $10 if you call us today at the office.
So once we've determined that either the sanitization or the coil guard treatment is going to be done, we inspect the electrical components similar to how we did it on the outdoor unit, where we're going to test all the electrical components, the blower, if there's a capacitor in there. Not all the new units have capacitors in the indoor units. There's a fan control board. There's just a bunch of little components in there that all just need to be made sure that they're working properly. Not a whole lot of work specifically to do. It's more cleaning and testing in the air handler part, because it can be cleaned out fairly rapidly. And if it can't be cleaned out fairly rapidly, then we will offer you the solution to what needs to be done in order for it to be cleaned out thoroughly to the degree that it requires, not any more or less than it needs. If it only needs to be cleaned in place, but it needs to be done by, a service guy because there's something in front of it and it's really hard to get at, and it's a really tough job. We have guys that will take care of that. I have a guy for every job. So once we get through all the electrical components and we're ready to test the system, we'll go ahead and reassemble it. Oh, also we'll check the air filter. That kind of, I didn't mention that, but it's a gray area as to where the filter is going to be located in the system. Sometimes it's in the unit, sometimes it's in the house, sometimes there's multiple different filters all over the place. we'll determine that early on in the visit and make sure that you get your filter taken care of. But now that we're testing the unit, we're going to test the electric heater. We're going to test the heat pump operation, if it's a heat pump, in heat and air conditioning. We're going to check for refrigerant leaks. We're going to check your duct pressure to make sure that your air distribution is capable of working properly, that you're at least moving the air that you think you're moving or that the system is required to move. We check the compressor starting amps, which tells us how much juice the compressor is using to run. And once again, the rating of what it should be running at is displayed clearly on the side of the unit. So all we have to do is compare what you have to what the factory says it should be, and we can show you the difference between working and perfect, how far you've got to go. And from that point forward, if everything came out good, here's your no breakdown guarantee. We'll see you in 6 months. I hope everything works great. You know, it's a really simple thing. All of our guys are good people. They're people that are that you will enjoy spending, you know, an hour or an hour and a half with. They're all knowledgeable about various different things. They're very worldly people, and we are all great resources to have in the area, in the trades, just to have somebody that you know that you've dealt with to recommend other people to do the same kind of work for you. Anybody that we will recommend to you will be fully licensed, bonded, and insured. And that's something that you never have to worry about with our company. If you need a painter and I recommend you a painter, you don't have to worry about that painter. Anybody that works for me has been vetted. We use background checks. You know, it's a very, very good group of guys that I have working here. It's one of the best groups of guys that I've ever worked with in my entire adult life. And, you know, I feel I'm lucky to be surrounded with these guys. And if anybody is looking to join our team that is in air conditioning, that wants to be a part of a team that's like this, please give me a call. I'm always looking for great technicians. I mean, if you've got a grandson that just graduated from MTI and got his air conditioning degree, send him my way. I love to teach these good young guys. I hire based on character. We're looking to expand our team moving into the summer months. So if anybody knows somebody, send them my way. I mean, we're pretty much good on the maintenance here. So is there anything else that you want to
No, we have 2 minutes left. It's $49 for the maintenance. We reduced it an additional $10 for today and today only. So if you haven't had your maintenance done or haven't had it scheduled, don't wait till it's too late, guys. Give us a call, 941-926-6969. That's 941-926-6969. You can also go on the website and schedule your appointment there at www.andcooling.com. That's andcooling.com.
There is one more special that we had for this week, and I sincerely apologize if anybody that isn't listening now that was at the beginning that I missed it. We have a really neat little information packet put together. It's really just a sheet that explains how to set your air conditioning this time of the year in Florida because of how strange the conditions are and how hard it can be to keep your house comfortable. And also, if you have a dehumidistat in your home, it gives specific instructions on how to control the humidity and what to do when you're occupying the home and when it's unoccupied. And this is something that's on letterhead. You give it to your tenants, you keep it on the wall. Call in
941-926-6969.
Ask us to email you the letter, okay? And we will email you a copy on company letterhead. This is a very, very valuable reference material. If you're not from here, you need this information, okay? This will help you. If you're not from here and you're not an air conditioning professional, guarantee you'll learn something from this. Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about indoor air quality next week.
Nice. Have a great week.
Can't wait to talk to everybody then. Thanks for listening on the new Sunny 1450 and 1320.